Kendrick's on a Carti album. He's such a horrible person. Listen, go bring that noise to the people getting accused of the most vile things, not an artist of the century like Kendrick, who's already told you what he stands for over and over throughout all his music. Kendrick is the biggest clout chaser. After a Super Bowl performance, we can safely say Kendrick does not need to be on a Carti album for any type of appeal. He had all kind of folk dancing to Peekaboo and doing his Not Like Us intro dance, not Carti fans. In the end, music is music. Whether we like Carti's music or not, music artists do collabs all the time. Carti clearly has super fans, and Kendrick gave a feature. Kendrick being on Carti's album, I have to say, to me, definitely was a little surprising. It was confusing. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't expect the collaboration. I didn't expect Kendrick to be on a Playboi Carti album. And I have some opinions about the music itself, and I'll get to that in a second. But in terms of the collaboration itself, people saying Kendrick is a clout chaser and things like that, I obviously don't agree with. Playboi Carti, he is popular. I don't deny that. He's not like a top 10, on Spotify artist. Sorry, Carti fans. We're good now, right? Since Kendrick and, Carti decided to collab, so the fan base is fine. But as of now, Kendrick is in the top 5 of the most streamed artists on Spotify. And Carti, no disrespect to him at all, is not found on that list, right? So make it make sense that a top 5 artist is getting clout in that fashion, right? That's like saying like a big, massive YouTuber is getting clout from a smaller YouTuber by doing collaboration. Also, Kendrick has given features to many people before throughout his entire career. Whether they were on his level, made lyrical music, made conscious music, whether he hated their guts, Kendrick gave Drake a feature. And he's literally boxed him out of the face of planet Earth. He's given Lil Wayne a feature. And Lil Wayne was the one who cried about not getting the Super Bowl in New Orleans over Kendrick and never even congratulating him that made Dot say on GNX, the irony, I think my hard work let Lil Wayne down. He's given The Game a feature, who later on never even clearly sided with Kendrick during the rap beef, even being from the West Coast. He's been featured on Future's music. And we could say their music is definitely not the same. So an artist like Kendrick doing a feature with an artist, like any artist, or like Playboi Carti, it says nothing about him, whether you like Carti's music or not. So this conversation shouldn't even be like Kendrick getting clout and all this kind of stuff. Doesn't even make sense. Friday, Ricky said off Twitter, y'all went crazy, try to cancel me multiple times because of my effing opinion. Then your GOAT does 3 songs with a deadbeat pregnant woman beating vampire. Okay, let the party die. Okay, sounding sarcastically. My brother, Kendrick is not a gospel artist. I'm sorry, is that something that we need to specify to people? He literally said in Watch the Party Die, I want to be empathetic, my heart like D1, but I will, and he goes silent. In other words, I can't. He didn't even release Watch the Party Die, nor put it on his album. In other words, while Kendrick seems to strive for meaning in his music, Kendrick is not necessarily at the place the haters claim he's at. He doesn't make religious music. And I noticed ever since the beef and Kendrick putting all this question into Drake's character, people look for any loopholes to paint K-Dot as some bad person, any chance they get. But the irony that every time they try, it's not because of anything that Dot did or he's being accused of. It's based off some other person's reputation, right? Firstly, I have no right to speak on Carti's character itself because I don't know anything about it, but y'all are literally finding a way to get mad at Kendrick because you don't like Playboi Carti. Make that make sense. That's like me doing group work in school and you hate one guy, so you say I'm a bad person because I have to finish the school project with him. I can't speak on every single person's reputation that I end up collaborating with in some light. Plus, Kendrick, by the way, is still an artist. This is another overlooked thing. He's still an artist with Interscope in some capacity. And Playboi Carti is also on Interscope, right? So they're bound to try to boost each other. Remember Drake said, you in the scope right now, right? Off of, Push-Ups? First rap song in the beef by Drake. So Carti's also there. So they're bound to try to boost each other up under the label. Now for the collaboration, I do agree in one sense that while I'm a little confused by the collaboration, it was an utter surprise to find Kendrick on Carti's album. But I suppose, right, that was the idea, to be a surprise, which is what Kendrick always goes for, right? He likes the pop out, the surprise, right? We all know that Kendrick boogeyman meme, right? So me personally, I don't think the collaboration was needed for either side. I don't think Playboi Carti needed a Kendrick feature, and I definitely don't think Kendrick needed to be on Playboi Carti's album. And I don't expect to see Kendrick on a Carti song. My only thought is I assume Kendrick did it for the surprise factor and to double down on teaming up with Future and the other Drake ops, right? The Weeknd on this, who they were also featured on the album, that they've dissed Drake in the past. Also, there's no Drake on this new Carti album. It really does say a lot. And that's the part that I think strengthens Kendrick's presence on the collaboration. If any big artist jumps on a feature, right, with Carti, you would think it would be people from Atlanta or it would be Drake. In a sense, I think the more important question is not why is Kendrick on this Carti album, but why is Drake not on the Carti album? But the fact that there's no Drake, but there's Future and The Weeknd, right, who have dissed Drake in the past with Kendrick, it adds to the impact of the album's features. I think that's a part that people are missing to the puzzle, right? Part of me does wonder if Kendrick knew or had to know whether Drake was going to be on it, right? That would have been interesting. And I doubt that he necessarily knew. That's something maybe we have to explore. But also maybe Interscope itself doesn't want Drake on Carti's album. There's been this narrative, I think I've heard some rap, I won't say names, try to claim that Kendrick didn't want Drake on the album and found a way not to put him on the album. But the thing is, we have to realize that they're both Playboi and Kendrick are on Interscope. Maybe Interscope itself doesn't want Drake on Carti's album. Because in Drake's lawsuit against UMG, if I recall, there seems to be some claims that there was some rivalry that's being claimed in the lawsuit between Interscope and Republic Records, which Republic Drake is on. So you don't need Kendrick to say no Drake. Interscope probably doesn't want Drake on there anyway. And there's another part of me that I would have found it interesting if Carti did put Drake as a feature on the album. It would have sparked some controversy, right? To me personally, to have Kendrick, Future, Weeknd, along with a random Drake feature on the album somewhere, a little strange surprise. Everyone knows I'm Team Kendrick, but actually, I think that would have made some interesting discourse, especially given that it's not like we expect Carti to take any sides. I mean, maybe he has. I really don't know. We've been seeing some tweets, but I personally don't expect like Carti being in the rap beef in that light. So it wouldn't have mattered to me if you put both of them on. But it did make me wonder, did Carti choose a side here? It would seem so, right? Leaving a Drake feature off the album, it does seem deliberate in this time. It's not that it's a given that Drake has to be on the album, but surprising since he has features from so many other big artists. But looking back, Drake did have one feature with Carti called Pain 1993 on his Dark Lane demo tapes, right? As you tell you, I don't know nothing about Drake's albums. And Drake did drop his song No Face, right, last year in 2024 after the rap beef off of his 100 Gigs Online release with Carti initially. But then suddenly the song was being played without Carti's verse. So it was like Carti's verse was pulled. Jay Hitta, who is known to be Kendrick's homie, claims that Playboi Carti did not clear his feature with Drake due to siding with Kendrick. Now, who knows for sure, but that is an interesting point because it was strange to suddenly see Carti's verse go ghost right after Drake sort of like leaked the song off of his website. And I think on the 100 Gigs website, it was released with Carti's verse, and then when it made it to streaming services, Carti's verse was gone. So some speculated that Drake pulled it, and others speculated that Carti's the one who pulled it, and he didn't want his verse on Drake's song. So it would seem the beef between Drake and Playboi Carti was already there. So maybe Carti featuring Kendrick on this album was meant to be a slap in Drake's face. As far as Kendrick's presence on the tracks, he's actually on 3 songs. I think when it first dropped, people just looked at good credit. A lot of people didn't even get through the full Carti album when it dropped because it has 30 songs. But Kendrick is on several. Kendrick, he does ad libs on Mojo Jojo and then has full verses on Backdoor and good credit. Obviously, it's Kendrick. And whether or not I agree with or see any chemistry between Carti and Kendrick, I do think it was interesting and Kendrick's parts were fire. Right? Kendrick's parts to me, I'm not necessarily, no offense to Carti fans, I'm Playboi Carti. Here and there, I like a few songs. I like the production. I'm not necessarily like a Playboi Carti fan. But to me, Kendrick's verses were good, whether it was on Carti or not. His ad-libs to me were on point and his verses are great. I was actually pleasantly surprised in a way. I would say there was good and bad. I don't like the collaboration personally from an artistic perspective. That's just me. It doesn't matter. Kendrick can do whatever he wants. But the thing is, and that's the thing about Kendrick, he tends to like do his own thing and set these bars that maybe other people don't see at first. That's his artistic choice. After hearing it, I couldn't deny that there was some chemistry that I did feel present between them on some of the songs, not all of them. And I was just left wondering like why or how or when did I miss the memo that Kendrick would ever do a collaboration with Playboi Carti, right? Did other people know that? And I just was like not on this memo that went out. But listen, it doesn't matter because Carti fans are not Kendrick fans. And Kendrick fans are not really Carti fans, as far as I know. So to wait for Kendrick to sort of spread his wings and maybe Carti to spread his wings. I mean, listen, Kendrick, the guy did the Super Bowl. So why not jump on whatever features he needs to get on? For some of the tracks, right? Mojo Jojo, In Mojo Jojo, Kendrick doesn't have a verse. He's just ad-libbing alongside Carti. I thought this was kind of interesting. To me, it did work. I've always said like Kendrick is amazing at voice modulations and ad-libbing. These are things like haters made fun of him for, but I love like what he does with his voice and the ad-libbing he does throughout his entire career on all these songs. So him being on a Carti song ad-libbing, it was kind of funny and it was kind of interesting because to see Playboi Carti, Mr. Ad-lib himself, was sort of the rapper in the song with Kendrick ad-libbing behind the track. So it was ironic and an interesting play. Then now for the other song, Backdoor. This song was interesting because it had the old nostalgic, typical Playboi Carti sound from 2017, which I think is reminiscent for Carti fans. I have to say though, it's crazy that Kendrick's verses go really hard on this album. I mean, I've never seen Kendrick miss in a feature anyway, but Kendrick's verses here, I would say are well done. And this song is almost an opposite to Mojo Jojo, where now Kendrick is more the front runner and Carti maybe is doing some ad-libs. The song is a little more slow with an R&B vibe, so we'll see how this one does. Listen, this song itself, I like Kendrick's verses, but I personally wasn't crazy about this song. The chemistry in this song was okay to me. Kendrick's verses sounded like, to me, they really needed a nice female vocal voice to sing like the hook. So like I said, I like Kendrick's verses. I wasn't sure about the chemistry in this song. Y'all tell me in the comments below what y'all think. But for good credit, this was a song. This was a hard song. I think Kendrick's verses, he slid on this track. It worked. The chemistry was great with him and Carti. The intro is from an Instagram comedy post, right? You heard that in the beginning where like, good credit, Home Depot credit. The intro is from an Instagram comedy post by One Blake the Great, where he's humorously describing how to get free stuff using a Home Depot credit card, using someone's social security number that fell out of their pocket on the floor, and he picked it up and used it to get good credit. The significance of this, to me, of this intro is open to interpretation. I had wondered about it, but for me, it might just be for fun comedy purposes, right? Just that. But for me, an interpretation is that there's a metaphor between how the person in the skit takes something that fell from someone else's pocket and uses it to get things he needs for himself, or to get the appliances and sell them to make money. And maybe this is somewhat of a metaphor between Kendrick or any person could be that stepping on Drake or any of their ops to produce good music, using what's falling out of Drake's pocket, what used to be good music from Drake and now turned into I don't know what, and flipping it into something good for the fans. That's just a thought. Tell me what y'all think in the comments below. Now, Kendrick to me really slid on this song. This verse is fire. This is the best verse, the Kendrick verse on the whole album. My favorite lines are "Kids on my body and that's on my kids. I kid with nobody." We got the alliteration, right? Kids on my body. I don't know, but it's been said that Kendrick Lamar has his children's names tattooed. So that could be what he means by kids on my body, but also kids on my body, like little kids are all over me. Not those type of kids, but like little clowns, right? The other rappers, the other people, the other ops, they on me, but they're just little kids. They trying to get on me. And he goes, and that's on my kids, swearing by my kids, and I kid with nobody. Like, I'm not joking around. So again, beautiful alliteration. Something Kendrick does all the time. The next thing that was interesting was, does he call us the Boogies? And I think that's something that is a lot of Kendrick fans are like, wait a second, I never heard the Boogies before. This shows you that Kendrick is tapped in. You know what this is? The Vamps and the Boogies. We joke through the party. The Vamps being Carti fans, what he labels Carti fans, and the Boogies. I don't mind it. I think a lot of people on Twitter were saying they don't mind it, the Boogies. Does that sound a little soft? Y'all tell me in the comments below. Be the Boogies. Could be something good. I don't mind it, like I said, but I did find it interesting. Again, we have two different fan bases that Kendrick sort of maybe bringing together. I don't know if really Kendrick fan base is going to really play off, the Carti music or vice versa. I have no idea. Maybe there are people who like both music. I don't mind, Carti's songs, some of them. I'm just not like a big fan. Interesting way to bring the two fan bases together. Another cool way for Kendrick to label his fan base. I think Kendrick, through the rap beef, maybe his fan base really picked up a lot during the rap beef. And I think this was like Kendrick paying attention and like giving a nod and a shout out to his fan base, right? Like saying, because, I don't think he's ever labeled the fan base anything. A fan base likes to have a label to say, I see y'all. I see what y'all are doing for me, the Boogies. We joke through the party. And I respect that. I love that he did that. Next verse. Patek is flooded, but way over budget. I lose it on tour. I would have said F you too, but you knew that the list was full. And he has this funny laugh. I love the laugh in this. So this sounds like he's referring to that 50 Cent op list that he had on, I think it was Big Boy's interview. And he showed this op list had so many people on there. And honestly, it was full. So maybe this is a joke on Kendrick saying, you know what, I would have said it too. I would have said F you too. I wanted to be on that list too. But it was full. Joking, like, bro, there's too many people who already hate you. It doesn't even need me to be on there. Next line. Eliante go big, white gold, link fall on the belly, the emerald cuff for hers and his. That bitch on point like ASAP Relli. I'm talking about, that was a nice line. Nice shot at ASAP Relli, who went against ASAP Rocky, and ASAP Rocky was actually found innocent, exonerated from the charges that he was being called for by ASAP Relli, who was supposed to be a friend. So it was kind of like him saying, that bitch on point like ASAP Relli. Point like ASAP Relli had to call out Rocky and say he did it. He's the one who did such and such. So again, play on that. That was interesting and nice. Again, nice nod to show Kendrick is really tapped in. And then nice nod to the ASAP, crew, ASAP Rocky and them. Next line. The numbers is nothing. The money is nothing. I really been him. I promise. Say Kenny been heavy out west and I carry the weight. I'm Luka Doncic. I think Kendrick here is trying to say the numbers, again, I think this also could be a playback to what Drake said on push-ups, right? Playing on the numbers, right? Your numbers don't go, what was the line? I don't even remember anymore. This person got you wiped out. This person got you wiped out. The numbers is nothing. Money is nothing. I really been him. It's like he's saying, I'm what the culture's feeling, right? It's not about the numbers, the money. He already has that, saying, but that's nothing, right? And then he says, I'm heavy out west and I carry the weight. And he mentions that basketball player that's actually on Los Angeles Lakers, right? Who actually scores a lot of points. Maybe people could see him as carrying the team. So that's another nice call out. And also to a person from LA. I like the way Kendrick, when he calls out things very specific to LA and the West Coast. And I don't think a lot of people do that as much as Kendrick. I think other people should do that. Like if you're an East Coast or New York rapper or Florida rapper, whatever, like you call out these metaphors that are from your area. Like that's something fire that Kendrick does. Next line. Conspiracy theories is given, but I must admit it, you got the wrong person. I love that line. He's basically calling out that Drake lawsuit. Allegedly, it's my thoughts. That he's calling out the lawsuit, calling out Drake, saying, you're going to put all these conspiracy theories about not like us being botted, about all these people trying to go against you in the music song, trying to promote me against you and all this stuff. You got the wrong person. I'm not that person. And also, nice kind of like him saying, be careful, watch out how you talk about me, right? Because we all said, like, why is Drake not suing Kendrick, right? If he's the one who said, defames him, allegedly, right? Then sue him, but you sue UMG. So he's saying, I must admit, you got the wrong person. I love this line. Then he goes, they bundling, man, Chicago slang, which one of you dudes will merch it. Yeah, merch it. Really cool. Again, I think he's calling out maybe Drake and other rappers, other people who try to use bundles to boost sales. They try to have a package so they can say my album sold because my merch sold, right? That's what happens. They sell merch, but they package it up so they can say, I also got another sale to boost the sales. And he's calling this out. He doesn't say Drake specifically, but I'm sure there's other entendres. I'm not familiar with the bundling Chicago slang, and some of y'all tell me in the comments below if y'all from Chicago, but I think this is a call to Drake. And I did want to do a video about Drake. Allegedly, some word is, bro, he's allegedly been botting Sexy Songs For You album. That's something I want to talk about later on. I want to do a video about that, but there's more to that story. Anyway, next one. I like when he goes, Carti, my evil twin. Carti, my evil twin. I was kind of like, why is he calling Carti his evil twin? But again, I think what people are missing is that this is Kendrick, right? He's saying like, this other person is my evil twin. And Kendrick has always had this good and bad throughout his music, that I'm trying to be righteous, but I also have this bad side that I have to fight with, right? So it's all a play on, if you know Kendrick music, it's all a play on that. My skin is smoother, my teeth is whiter, my stride is longer, my thoughts is brighter. The hate get realer, they love get fake, but when you this great, that's how you should like it. This was like Man at the Garden, like ×4, right? like not just these accolades, but these like really, I'm gonna boost myself with some ego. I'm better, I'm stronger, I'm this, I'm that. But you know what? In the end, there's always hate. The love is getting fake. So you gotta take it like that, right? You gotta take it like that. That's how you gotta understand. That's how you have to play it. So I love that line. If people don't understand Kendrick's music, just go back to Blacker the Berry. Off of To Pimp a Butterfly, one of his best albums. We are on the 10-year anniversary. I think it's one of the top albums in the history of music. See what he says on Blacker the Berry. He said, I'm the biggest hypocrite of 2015. Go back to that if y'all want to question Kendrick's stance on things. I hope y'all like this video. It's Ramadan. I'm fasting. I've been a little slow on my videos for my philosophers, the people who rock with the channel. Please still rock. Keep going. I'm going to still drop, but it's been a little slow for the months, trying to be a little more spiritual, but I'll be back stronger. I hope you like this video. Peace and love.